Hola to my friends and family out there. Hopefully we can see. The van's just in the background over here. And I can say to you guys, welcome to the middle of Hungary. And when I say the middle of Hungary, I quite literally mean welcome to the middle of Hungary, because this behind me is officially the marker to the middle of Hungary. So we're going to go and hopefully talk about money. This is the center marker. So I'm going to officially sit right in the middle of Hungary and talk about money with you guys. Now, if you guys have seen any of my other videos, you'll know I don't talk about money. And the truth is that's because it's a bad past of mine. And I was just obsessed with making money. I always wanted to be rich and all this kind of nonsense. I've got other videos on this. But I've had a lot of people, especially since I made my, living in a van in London and escaping the system video and stuff like this. I've had a lot of people ask me, how do you fund this lifestyle? How do you make money? How did you, go to travel the world and this kind of stuff? So that's why I'm making this video, because I understand that ultimately it is a capitalist system that we live in. And if you want to escape the system, if you want to travel the world, you want to be free, whatever, you need to make money. That's the truth, because you've got to put food on the table. I've got to buy fuel for my van. Let's get a picture of the van. Let's move across a little bit. There we go. I've got to put fuel in the van, and all of this costs money at the end of the day. So I thought I'd answer this question, and hopefully it helps a few of you, achieve the same if it is what you want to achieve. Jumping straight into it, about 3 years ago now, I was £24,000 in debt. I didn't have a job, and I didn't have any money, and I had no money coming in, obviously, if I didn't have a job. And basically I decided that I was going to make money, I was going to clear my debt, I was going to get money behind me, and then I was going to quit my job, and I was going to go travel the world. And fortunately, that's exactly what's happened, and it worked out quite well. So hopefully with me sharing this, it might help a few people. So what did I do? It's as simple as this. You can either just work hard, or you can think smart and then you can work hard. Or you can think smart and you can work smart and hard, which I would advise. Especially if it's a result-based work like mine was. And the path that I chose was sales. I've done a lot of sales and stuff like this in the past. I've worked at Volkswagen, Mercedes. I've had a couple of businesses here and there. This was more in the days with business, especially when I was just trying to make as much money as possible. And I was literally just trying to make money for the sake of money. I didn't even realise why I wanted money. And then I had a switch in mindset and realised that freedom was important to me, not fortune. So I decided that I was going to get a high paid sales job. And I went on Gumtree, and there was filters that you can look at as to the salary of jobs. I was living in London at the time, and I was still in my small bedroom in Mile End, if you guys have seen that. And I decided, you know what? I am going to try and make as much money as I can. I'm going to get the highest paid job possible. I'm going to clear my debt. And then I'm going to save money. I'm going to go traveling the world. So basically I went on Gumtree. I found a job in property investment. And it said the salary was between 60 and 100,000 realistic on-target earnings. And I thought, that will do me. That's perfect. That's higher than I was being paid at Mercedes and Volkswagen. I earned about 60 to 70,000 when I was at Mercedes and Volkswagen. This is when I was living in Reading. And the straight up truth is I decided I want to earn as much money as I possibly can to get myself out of debt, because it was a fucking horrible place to be. I'd made mistakes in my life to get myself there. I had loans and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, you just feel horrible if you're in debt. If any of you guys are in debt, or you've been in debt, you know that it's a depressing place to be. So I found this job and I thought, yeah, that's perfect. Now, here's one tip to hopefully help a few of you guys out there that want to get a high paid job or just want to get a job. There's been a few times in the past now where I've basically run out of money. I've had no money and I've thought, okay, it's time to start making money again. And to be honest with you, it depends on the risk that you want to take in life. I would say that I've always been the kind of person that takes on a lot of risk, probably too much risk, especially in other people's eyes. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You choose to play it how you like. I've always chosen to play on the high side of risk. And sometimes it works and you get the rewards, other times it doesn't and you end up in a lot of debt, exactly like I did in the past. So every time that I've gone to a position where I've gone to get a job, and it was the same at Mercedes and Volkswagen, and it was the same as this property investment company, I put my CV together. I'd never done car sales before I applied. I'd never done property investment before I applied. And what I did is I put my CV together and I found out where the offices were, where the head offices were. So I didn't just put my CV in with everyone else that's also applying this job, which is hundreds of people that are applying for high paid jobs, or most jobs to be fair nowadays. But at the end of the day, you've got to stand out in this world. You need to get noticed. And especially if you're doing sales, something like this, it's very much a people's person game. And, you know, one of the skills is communication and confidence and all this kind of stuff. So I've always just put my CV together. I found out where the head offices are, or wherever the place is that's actually hiring. And I go in and I ask to speak to the manager directly with my CV. So I don't go through the recruiter or any of this kind of stuff that's gone on. I've never ever done that. I've never ever got a job by going through the recruitment process and stuff like this. I've always just gone in and I've asked to speak to the manager and I've handed in my CV personally, and it's worked every single time. So hopefully that helps a few people kind of, you know, maybe think outside the box or think differently, because absolutely based on my experiences, especially with getting jobs, it puts you ahead of everyone else who's just playing in the same field. So speaking about the property investment, I walked in, I found out where the offices were in Liverpool Street in London. I walked in, I spoke to the receptionist. I said, does RW Invest have their offices here? They said yes. I said, I want to speak to the manager there. There's a vacancy going and I want to give them my CV. And she said to me, oh, we can't, no one's allowed up. So, I spoke to her a little bit longer. And then, eventually she said, well, look, I'll see what I can do. And that's another thing. Don't give up on the first hurdle, We're all human at the end of the day. And if someone sees that someone's actually trying, more often than not, they'll try and help you out. And that was exactly the same situation for me. She ended up ringing up the office. She got one of the guys down, Dan, who's actually one of my mates. Dan, hello, my friend. He came down. We went up to a room. I gave him my CV and I said that you guys are, you're hiring. And I thought that I just wanted to come in and I thought I'd just have a chat, make a good first impression, all this kind of stuff. I had a chat with him. I obviously learned about the company beforehand. That's another tip. Do your homework. If you're going to do this kind of stuff, don't just turn up blind and then start and ahhing when they ask about the company and stuff like this. And we had about a 20-minute chat. He went up, handed the CV on to the managers. He stuck to his word, so very much appreciative towards Dan, and he knows that. He stuck to his word. He gave the CV to the managers. And then I got a call from the head of recruitment within that company, had a quick chat on the phone, and then it was actually during COVID. And I then did an interview online over like a webinar thing, whatever it is. I got the job. So that is how I got the job. That is how I started the process to get myself out of debt. And then basically my goal, and hence why I said to you, you can think smart and work hard, or you can think smart, work smart and work hard. I decided that I was going to learn as much as I possibly could. I've done this with every single job that I've ever gone in. I like to know everything that I possibly can to put myself in the best position, basically. And I got the job. I learned as much as I possibly could. And in the first year, I became top in the company. And I made exactly £103,000 in my first year. Now, obviously I got taxed, and in the UK you get absolutely spanked for tax. So I don't know how much I came out with. I must have come out with probably about 55, 60, something like this. I was living in London, and obviously London costs a fortune. I was still living in my apartment, so I was spending money on my apartment. I was still going out and stuff like this. You know, I'm under no illusion that I was like curled up in my bedroom saving every penny. Now I was still enjoying the London life and stuff like this. But I did make the decision before I joined that job that there was a purpose behind this, and that purpose was to, 1, get myself out of debt, 2, then make as much money and save as much money as possible, 3, then go travel the world. And obviously I had to pay for my van, which is in the background. So in the first, it took me actually about 18 months to clear my debt completely, the £24,000 clean, because obviously you've got to remember, like I said, you pay tax. You just think, well, I make £24,000, bosh, I'm out of debt. No, I'm not. You've probably got to make about 35,000 just to clear that debt. And then obviously you've got rent and, you know, going out and food and bills and phone and all this kind of stuff that comes with it. Especially living in London, everything's ridiculously expensive. But at the end of the day, it is relative. I do find that there's more opportunity in the big cities than there was for me. I certainly couldn't have earned that living in Nottingham. So there was more opportunity. So basically the first year, the first 18 months, I got myself out of debt. And then I stayed at that company for another year, because then I was starting from scratch. And then for the next year, I actually made less because interest rates went up. People, if they know mortgages and stuff like this, people started getting spanked on mortgages. And that also affected the property investment game. But I still did well, don't get me wrong. I don't know how much I made in the second year. I probably made about 70 to 80,000, something like this. I managed to pay for my van. All in all, my van, it cost me £7,250 to buy the actual van itself. I put about probably £13,000 in the van, so let's just say £20,000 for easy numbers. And then I managed to save £20,000 in total over that year. I had some in crypto. I've still got some in crypto. I actually cashed some Phantom the other day, which is a crypto. I put $3,100 in that, managed to cash £8,500. So that was a good investment. So I did study some crypto and stuff like this when I was actually, you know, in the investment world doing property and stuff like this. And then, yeah, basically I decided that's enough for me to quit my job. And like I said, I've always done this, and I'm not advising you to do this because it's not right for most people. For some people it is. For me, you know, like I said, my mindset and stuff has changed over the last 5 years or so. I don't care about making a lot of money. I know that I needed to make enough money to buy my van and to have enough behind me to go travelling and stuff. But if you guys have seen how much it cost me to live in Europe, not travel, so that doesn't include fuel and stuff like this. But I obviously drove out to Europe, and then I was living in Montenegro, and that was only costing me about €600 for the month, and that's for me and my missus, and that's including food, your phone bills, basically everything that we need. I've got a full video on that. You can see the breakdown. I can't think of this off the top of my head. But if you think about that, and you do the calculations on that, €600, if I've got £20,000 behind me, then €600 a month, well, I've actually got a lot of time. We're talking, you know, if I didn't really travel, I've got nearly 3 years worth of living in Europe. So that was basically my plan, and it's kind of worked out. And what I decided to do, my thinking was, you know, 3 years for me, even 2 years, I believe that that's enough time for me to start another venture. And that venture for me at the moment is YouTube. I mean, I do plan to diversify and stuff in the future, I'm going to launch like a hippie clothing brand and stuff like this. My girlfriend is doing Reiki, is into crystals and stuff like this, and making necklaces, you know, and all this kind of stuff. And basically just live a more free, fulfilled life, doing something that we actually want to do, pursuing our passions, and obviously going to see the world. That was the most important thing to me. And yeah, I think that is going to be enough time for me to transition to YouTube. If you saw the last video that I posted, I've got monetized on YouTube. That took me only about 8 weeks, which I was really pleased with. Again, I was still putting in quite a bit of effort. If you can see, over the last, couple of months, I've been posting nearly a video every 3 to 4 days, but that worked. It's got me monetized. I don't care about being a YouTube king and making fortunes, like I've said. I only need to make a small amount of money to fund this lifestyle, and this is all I care about living. A lot of people have said to me, what about your pension and stuff like this? It might not be the most sensible way of thinking. I might regret it in the future. I don't think I will, but I'm living in the present, and I will deal with that. I would say when the time comes, but that's not accurate either, because I'll obviously think about it before then, and I've got plans to diversify with income streams. But the difference is, this time I'm doing it from a place of fulfillment, and I'm doing it from a place of happiness, which I wasn't doing beforehand. I was just doing whatever I could to just make money and chase money, and nothing else really mattered. And that was kind of a stupid mindset, and it led to depression, if you see my depression video. So now I'm doing it from a place of happiness, doing it from a place of contentment. I'm traveling the world. I'm doing what I always wanted to do. I don't need to make fortunes. I am free. And by the looks of it, I mean, to be fair, I had that one video, that living in a van in London, that's, done well on nearly 200,000 views, and the other ones are obviously smaller than that. So that's obviously the majority of the income that the YouTube channel is producing at the moment, but I'm going to keep producing content, and I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to make enough money to sustain this life. And like I said, I only need to make around 600 euros a month. I am going to be traveling. We're on our way to Turkey, potentially Egypt. We'll see what happens, because I've looked into that. It might be difficult to ship the van out there and stuff like this, so I'm going to need money for fuel and stuff like this, so I will need a bit more money. But I think for me, certainly 2 to 3 year time frame is going to be enough if I put in consistent effort. I work hard and work smart with YouTube, and I help people, which hopefully you've seen with my other videos and stuff. I'm not, just doing nonsense videos and stuff like this, really. I'm generally just trying to help people. And I found that that's working so far. So yeah, that's it. A lot of people have asked me that question. That's a straight up answer for you guys. I don't know if it's the answer that you wanted, but it's a realistic answer, because I think some people, the way they ask, how do you do this? They think there's some magic formula to being able to travel the world and just be free. And there is no magic formula. The formula is thinking smart, working smart, and working hard. And that's exactly how I did it. That's how I was able to just get the money behind me. And now I'm going to keep really working hard, but the only difference is this time I'm working hard on something that I love. From a place of freedom. So there we go, people. I hope this has helped a few people. That's just me being straight up from the centre of Hungary, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and at this moment in time we are on our way to Azora Festival. So there we have it. I hope it's helped. Stay happy, stay free, and I will see you on the next video. Peace and love, my people.